when I'm doing the college spotlight at the end, that's when I do
Good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday. I just messed that up. Messed it all up. Let's retake this.
Tuesday.
Let's just retake this for a second. It's Tuesday. Welcome into Rhythm Fantasy.
Where's the little thing in Hollywood that take two?
Right? Yes. So it is actually Tuesday. Welcome into the Rhythm Fantasy Sports. I'm Jamie. That's Eli. We're here to hit those waiver wires for you. We're gonna do some. We're gonna actually do some highlighted players. We got that dirty garbage bin DFS stuff kind of going on. We got that college spotlight we're gonna hit up, and I'm not sure. And then I got my ghosting segment as well. So we'll kind of see who were the fancy duds of the week too. We'll recap the previous week, and then we'll hit up to the current week. So if anybody's got some guesses on who might be this week's fantasy duds, type them in the comments below, man. Come on, we want some guesses before we get to the end of the show here. So type in your comments below, and we'll see if anybody's got any of them right this week. But yes,
Yep. I'll piggyback on what Jay was saying. We need some comments tonight. Need some interaction. So get on that. And if you haven't yet, me and Jay, we put in a lot of time with research and all the we've done this show for over a year now, so we probably should have celebrated. We probably should have had a cake back in August, but anyways, we have a lot of content on Spotify, YouTube, whatever. Weren't we just talking about Tank Dell? Weren't we just talking about Puka? Weren't we just talking about Devon, H8? We were talking about all these guys from the past summer. So if you want to go back and watch any of the past streams, like I said, Spotify is our personal preference. Or follow us on Discord. If you're not into the audio stuff, you just want to, I want to be a keyboard warrior. I want to type out some stuff. I want to get my thoughts across. Go over to Discord. Like we said, you can comment here as well. I mean, we appreciate that. We're on Google. We're on Apple. We're on a couple different big platforms. Podbean. Tune in. We're taking over the globe. But yeah, if you want to follow any of that, just hit one of the. See the Apple there? You see the little green Spotify thing? Go follow us on one of them. And a lot of these guys that are hitting now. When we're gonna do college spotlight at the end of the episode. A lot of these guys that are hitting now, had you been listening or had revisited some of our episodes, you would have known about. So.
Oh yes,
that's my
definitely. Ooh, well, since you mentioned, over our year now, we've been on YouTube. We'll give ourselves a nice run.
Thank you.
Well, this is what we should have did. This is what I should have did. I love that Back to the Future stuff. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I can watch that for days. I can watch that on repeat for hours on end and not get bored with it.
We should. Hey, Halloween's coming up. You should wear the big white lab coat, and I'll get an orange lab preserver. I'll be dressed like Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
I'll be our get up for the. We're streaming on Halloween, October 31st. I think we're actually going to be here. Unless,
oh my God!
Know, right? Maybe we do have to dress up. Doc Brown and Marty.
Yes. Just look at my Rhythm Dynasty squad for the duds.
He's over. Jay, he's 0 for 5. He's 0 for 5.
0 for 5? How do you go for 0 and 5 in a Dynasty league? Damn. Where's where's my
Fail.
yes. But no, I've actually had a so this week I went 11-6 in all my leagues. So I won 11, lost 6. The previous week I was like 6-12, I think, last week. So week 4 was kind of a duddy. But yeah, I've this week in our home league that you were in previously, I totally came out and I smoked everybody in points. I had like 228 some odd points. The rest of the league had crap for points. Yeah. Yep.
You have
Yep. So
DJ Moore.
I think I did. I think I had DJ or Fields. I can't remember one of those guys, but I had some of those guys that went like totally off. So yeah, I had a lot of those guys that went off this weekend. I mean, but yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I was 0-3. Now I'm 2-3. So you guys better watch out because I'm coming back for my fucking title. That's a guarantee.
He's coming back for retribution. He's coming back for retribution. Donovan ain't doing nothing in that dynasty league, 0-5. But one of these weeks, you keep listening to us, kid, and you'll go far. So I didn't want to disclose. I didn't want to disclose this because it sounds bad because Jay's in 17 leagues there, but I'm only in 5. And I'll be candid here. I went 5-0 though. I mean, I had a big week. In our 16 man that we do on Yahoo, I'm in first. 12
I know
man
I saw
dynasty
that.
that we're doing. I'm up in first now. So I mean, a couple of the teams are doing really well. I think I'm 5-0. A couple 4-1s, a 3-2, and a 2-3. So we got to get that 2-3 up a little bit. But yeah, not doing too shabby so far.
Yes, that's
Where's
actually
my
not bad. I'm actually 5-0 actually in 2 of my NFL fantasy leagues, so I'm happy with that.
Hell
So I'm
yeah.
not I know, so I'm pretty happy that I'm still undefeated. My IDP league it's struggling a little bit. I think I'm 3-2 now. But yeah, I messed up on a couple individual defensive players. I was going to swap some guys out. I was going to drop DeMarco Lawrence from the Cowboys. I was going to drop him, pick up somebody else. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I was pretty happy with my week. You know, I'm just hoping for more. But there's a lot of injuries going on now. I mean, it's brutal, totally brutal. So we got Javonte Williams was out. He killed me. There was a couple guys. Javonte Williams. He went out with a hip injury, and McLaughlin or Jahil. He actually came in.
Leo McLaughlin.
He actually he had a decent game. Came in. I think if I remember, he had a touchdown in that game. He did have a touchdown in that game. But yeah, it hurt me because I got Williams and I drafted Williams in a couple leagues. That kind of just totally bummed me out. There is also James Conner. He's hitting the IR. So stay tuned for our waivers for a guy to replace James Conner with. Did you hear that Van Jefferson was really moving on down because they moved his ass to Atlanta?
I saw the trade. Look, we see quite a bit of headlines, especially on Monday Night Tuesday when we're prepping for the show, and we're trying to look for injuries, we're trying to look for important stuff, and then this comes across the bottom of the scroll over on X, Twitter, whatever the hell it's called now, that Van Jefferson was basically traded for a ham sandwich. Okay, they can't get the ball. I mean, Desmond Ridder, and we're going to talk about him a little later in the show. I got a couple segments on Ridder. Ridder's been playing better, but they have trouble getting the ball to Kyle Pitts and Drake London, who are head and shoulders above any type of player that Van Jefferson could ever be. So I think he'll be. Remember Zacchaeus? Remember a couple years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Zacchaeus. He's kind of their number, maybe number 3 on an injury week or number 4 guy. That's pretty much what Van Jefferson's going to be. By Atlanta's number 4, which, I mean, he's a depth guy. If somebody goes down, Van can go in there for a little bit. He's nothing. I mean, he had every opportunity in the world. Look what Puka's doing. Look what Tutu Atwell was doing. Obviously with Cooper Kupp back. So, yeah, it's just something we got to report on because it's a he's a semi name, but yeah, I don't see Van Jefferson all of a sudden. Oh, he's in Arthur Smith's offense, putting up 90 yards and a touchdown every week. Like that's not gonna happen.
God damn, dude, that's totally hilarious. I I just gotta laugh about that. Let's see. Austin Eckler.
Moving on down.
Austin Eckler, he was practicing, so it's very possible he will be ready to go for this weekend. Well, be Monday's game against fucking Dallas Cowboys. I don't even want to talk about them. We'll bring them up later in the show. Then we got Daniel Jones. I know it's very possible he might be he could be missing some weeks possibly. With a neck injury, don't know yet, but it sounds like it was a different one that he actually had from 2021. So it's hard saying. Eli, you have a guest. But other than that, Marine Mostart.
Likewise. Why
Yes.
don't you tell her to get on and comment too, because we get a few more comments there. Yeah, Daniel Jones being out.
Tyrod Taylor.
Who the hell else do they have?
Tyrod.
Tyrod. I'll be honest. I didn't even know he was still in the league. So they're putting Tyrod out there. That doesn't mean anything good for the Giants receivers who they have left. Wandale or Hyatt or any of those guys. I'd stay the hell away from them. If Saquon's gonna, from what I was reading, Saquon's probably gonna be out another week. So it'll be another week of Eric Gray and Matt Breida. Giants. I think if Daniel Jones is out, if he goes to IR, he's out 3-4 weeks. I just tank. I mean, they won their one. They won their one game of the season. Maybe go 3-14, get a top 5 pick, take one of these quarterbacks, and then just try to eat that Daniel Jones money, I guess, or figure it out. But yeah, that's a train wreck. But Eric Gray, no, and we talked about Eric Gray this past summer. Eric Gray of the two definitely has the brighter future than Matt Breida. So Eric Gray, I think he only had like 25 yards or something, but it's a start. He actually got carries this week, which is a good sign. So Eric, of those players we mentioned, Eric Gray probably has the most upside. And maybe Wan'Dale Robinson for receivers. Like if you're looking to add somebody from the Giants offense, I'd stay away from them, but just two names to kind of be aware of.
For sure. Let's see here. Then keep your eye out on the Achan of the Dolphins. He could be missing a few weeks, right? He might be losing. He might be out maybe a couple weeks, but just kind of keep your eye on that. So you Marine Mostart fantasy guys, are going to be
and Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson's back from the IR now. I think it's going to be if you took the time, if you were able to snag him up while he was on IR, stashed him away. Now it's going to pay benefits because what I was hearing, I think it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks. I don't think he's going to go to the IR. Like James Conner is going to the IR and Richardson and those kind of guys, but JJ. But I think A-Chain's just going to be a couple weeks. So, but yeah, Jeff Wilson definitely get some of those looks, and he's another guy. I think he should be under 20% for especially Yahoo rostered. So he'd be a guy you could probably snag up, and maybe we'll get to him later on. But
yes. The other guy is JJ as well. He hit the IR, and we will mention a few guys in waivers to maybe pick up too if they're on your waiver wire. But yeah, for as far as headlines, that was a good majority of most of the good headlines there. And Donovan says, I lost Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson in a 3 Superflex league this week, FML. Well, Donovan, we have one guy to suggest to you, and that'll be in our waivers, man. So I know you're going to stay tuned because you want to hear this one.
I'll get my 2 cents in here on a couple of the waiver guys, then we can move on. Or a couple of the injury guys, then we can move on. JJ, I don't think he's. You know what? From what I was hearing, man, he wants that contract. He's in his 4th year. He wants to get paid. He wants to be the highest paid receiver in the league, and he's pretty much going to play hardball. This team's going nowhere. They're 1-4. I think they're gonna. I think that between the Bears and Vikings this week, the 1-4 matchup, the toilet bowl as we would call it, I think the loser of that game is done. I think the Bears are going to win that game. Like, I liked what I saw from Justin Fields last week against Washington. I think Bears are going to win that game. Vikings will be 1-5. They're done. There's no incentive for Jefferson to rush back or anything. He won't be back till at least week 10. So just as like a team view, if you're picking up guys, like if you're going after Addison, trading for Addison or picking up KJ Osborne or somebody along those lines, it's going to be for a good majority of the season. It's not going to be a couple week thing. I mean, I think this is something that could turn into something long term. Like, I don't see, like, if they're, week 10 comes and they're 2-7, I don't see any incentive for Jefferson to want to come back. It could turn into a Kyler Murray situation where we might not see him again for the rest of the season. And that's sad because guy's a fantasy monster, but that's just my thoughts on Jefferson.
Michael Penix Jr. to the Vikings.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, now, yeah, now might be a good time to mention. We're gonna change up this. Usually we only have one scroll. We got 2 tonight. So actually, we have Jay. Explain to people what we have for them about Michael Penix Jr., Mr. Lefty himself.
Oh, yes. Michael Penix Jr. is he's actually he was actually a Hoosiers. The funny crazy thing is he's actually been injured most of his 4-year career with the Hoosiers. He had 2 ACLs. He had a sprint in one of his shoulders. So that kind of neglected his, time with the Hoosiers. So, and then he actually moves to the Washington Huskies, and like all the yards that he put up with the Hoosiers, he did in 1 year with the Huskies. He put up 4,460 some odd yards with the Huskies. Just plain insane. And he's a left-handed QB too as well. So, I mean, this guy's got the arm to actually chuck it down. He looks like a Steve Young, in my opinion, the way he throws the ball. He's actually more of a pocket passer, which is crazy. I like what this kid does. If I knew we were going to do this, I would have put my graphics up that I had ready. So I was actually going to try to do some.
Spur of the moment thing. You said Penix. You said I can put it back. Hell, I'll put this up again later too. And then the people know, hey, get down, watch this video, subscribe to the channel. Rinse, wash, repeat. You know the deal. Penix. Yeah. Maybe we'll do a spotlight. We haven't done a spotlight yet on Penix. I mean, go watch that video that Jay has. Maybe we'll do a college spotlight on, at the end of one of these shows, one of these weeks. So, but yeah, Penix definitely. Go check that out. And back to your regularly scheduled program.
Well,
there we go. Bam.
I suppose we better get into our highlighted players of the week because we looks like we have quite a few to talk about. Then after the highlighted players of the week, we're gonna hit that waivers. So stay tuned. Put some comments
on
our highlighted players this week. And if you guys don't catch the highlighted most of the stream, I'll break down all the highlighted players, and they'll be on our highlighted players on Yahoo. So if you miss our full stream, all this stuff will be there. Yes. So yeah, we have big old playlists down there. You can watch all of them. All of them are from our streams. So yeah, as long with our waivers that we do on here too as well. Eli's Fab, my 6, all that stuff will be individually broke down. So if you just want to catch our waivers, all that will be in one big old video as well too. So as we turn to a who knows what, but we better get this shit on the road here. And first up,
Judge and jury.
we have a guy named, is his name Alice Gilbert? Is that his name?
Alice.
Well,
I don't know. He's Dallas in Wonderland the way he's been playing lately. Ooh, that stat line. Ooh.
Right. So for some odd reason, Dallas came to play. He's like, "Hey guys, I want to play some football. Give me a couple touchdowns. I want 26 points. I was out in 96% of the snaps. Why not give me a touchdown? He had 9 targets, 8 receptions, 117 yards. I mean, he was having a heyday, man. He had that glue right on his glove, and he was like, "Give me the damn ball. Just give me the goddamn ball." You know.
There ain't no deflated balls here.
So in turn, Dallas Gobbert, well, let's call it the Gobberts of the balls. But
He's a ball
I know,
gobbler.
right? I think as of right now, even though Goddard hasn't really been involved much with him having this game, I would honestly like sell him. If you don't want him on your team, try to sell him off because who knows if he's actually going to have another game like this, how far he's going to be involved. Just because you got Swift there, you got AJ Brown, and you got the other Devontae Smith. So he's just been lacking.
Rashad Penny's coming back
Yeah.
too, Jay.
So
He might.
so so honestly, Goddard's been kind of a ghost, really. So I mean, I think this is the time if there are managers out there that do want Goddard, get off him and try to get something else. That's me. I would probably who who would you try to actually get for maybe another different tight end if you didn't want Goddard?
Because I think there's a bunch of value in him right now. I'd say Jake Ferguson from Dallas, and then you could
Yeah.
probably because Goddard's got that name value, and he's coming off. This is going to be his high point of the season. This isn't Travis Kelce. This isn't George Kittle. This isn't a guy that is going to hit this stat line three to five more times this year. It's just not going to happen. This is the highlight of the season. He might not crack 100 yards again. So I would move. Yeah, like Jay was saying, move off him. I'd get a lesser name, but just damn near just as good, Jake Ferguson, and you can get another player thrown in with it. Go get hell. You could probably get Jake Ferguson and maybe Zach Moss for Dallas Goddard. I mean, that'd be the way Zach Moss has been playing lately, that might be pushing it. But I mean, that's right in that wheelhouse. You could get a nice backup, sometimes fill-in starter running back, and probably Jake Ferguson right now is playing like a top 15 fantasy tight end. He's not quite Dallas Goddard, but that's where the Zach Moss comes in to kind of equal up that trade. So that's a deal like I would do if Dallas Goddard was out there, or I had him and I was trying to move him.
As of right now, Goddard is actually the 8th tight end on the season, and that's
about where I figured he.
Yeah, I would actually rather have an Ingram, where there a lot of their wide receivers are kind of boom or bust, and and can't even think there for a moment. Yeah, Ty likes to toss his. I know, right? He likes to hit his tight ends quite a bit too, as well, or the other Logan Thomas, or I don't know.
Yeah,
I have a feeling
cheap. He's cheap, man.
And he is actually 11th tight end overall, for the season. Schultz is not out. I mean, Schultz is 12th overall. So, and this is the downfall when it comes to tight ends. It's kind of a wash. I mean, the only guys that you got is, Sam Laporta came around, he's probably going to be the rookie of the tight ends. He's going to be the guy that everybody wants. Right now he's tight end 1 on the season. Then you got your Hawkinson, Kmetz, and Michael Andrews, Michelangelo, who knows? But Goddard, sell. I'd get him off. I'd get off on him. So.
I'm gonna DM him. I'm gonna be like, Mark, you're now Michael. You're now you lost your first because the way he's been playing. Laporta's been playing better. Kittle, Kelce, all these boys have been playing. I mean, he's fallen. He's fallen a little bit. So the way Mark Andrews might be traded. It's just looking good tonight. Well, thank you, Candy. Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. Well, that was our highlighted player. One of our highlighted players. Our next guy is the Coop to the Cups. Michael Cooper Cups.
Cup.
I don't know. I'm just being random
Michael
tonight.
Cooper.
I don't know. Yeah. But yes, we have Cooper Cup.
We're just making up names now for players. Okay.
Right. But yes, Cooper Cup, he was, a lot of us fantasy players who drafted him were waiting and for this guy to actually get back to the goddamn rosters, get out on that playing field. So I mean, he was out 95% of the snaps. He had 20 points, 12 targets, 8 receptions on 118 yards, no touchdowns because, the rookie of the year will be the rookie of the year. He's like, I want the damn ball. I want the points. Tough, screw you, Cup. But he had 14.75 or 14.5 yards per catch. So overall, Cup looked good coming back from his injury. I liked what I saw, and I think both Cooper and Puka. No, we'll call him the Pook of the Cups. And right now, but overall, I think these
Fuse
two,
them together. Just
right, these two players become one. But overall, I think these two guys will be able to coexist in this offense, especially with Stafford leading the charge and whatnot. So overall, I think Cooper Cup will be a reliable resource for your fantasy teams this season. So look, I think next week, who knows? Cooper Cup could go for 204 touchdowns. Who knows? But overall, I was happy what I saw with Cooper Cup. Your thoughts?
he he didn't skip. Yeah, he didn't skip a beat. Got a new name and didn't skip a beat. I wasn't sure, because they had Jonathan Taylor from Indy. They had him on kind of a pitch count, and he kind of backed up Zach Moss. Only got a few carries. Like I wasn't sure how they were going to use Cooper coming back from the injury, but didn't skip a beat. Him and Puka are going to work just fine. Puka didn't really drop off at all. I think it's going to affect, obviously Van Jefferson's out the door, but I think it's going to affect Tutu Atwell more than it's going to affect Puka. Puka and Cup are going to be a lethal 1-2. I mean, we could be, if Cooper stays healthy, man, we could be talking about these guys right up there with Waddle and Hill, Chase Higgins, got combos like that in the league.
Ooh, because that's only going to be
Monday.
Oh,
So with
Donovan
the chat, Donovan. I know. I need to swipe right on all these ladies here. we need more. We need more women on, commenting and coming on the show.
Yes, but yes, but yeah, I think that's kind of our breakdown with Cooper Cup. He's legit number one wide receiver in this offense, and I think it's going to come down to matchups. 1 week it could be Cup, 1 week it could be Puka. So I think these guys are going to be going kind of back and forth. And they were playing they were playing. I can't remember who the heck they were playing, just because yeah, it's just one of those teams that they're both like, hey, I'm just going to toss the ball. So other than that,
Eagles.
Yes,
They're
yeah.
playing the Eagles.
So it was, yeah. So yeah, it was. I couldn't remember offhand exactly who they were playing, but yeah. So other than that, I think, yeah, that's just my opinion. I think it just comes down to matchups and if they can't run the ball, they're going to throw the ball. So yeah. All right. Who do we have next? Is there a guy?
I think there
Is there a?
Yeah. Where's he? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where's Brees Hall? Oh, there he
is. So we have a two-timer, a two-time guy who just hit our highlights once again. I love this guy. I could just put a ring on his finger right now if I could. Because he's going to be fantasy
right
gold.
There, baby. Hell yeah.
34 points out on 52% of snaps, 22 attempts, 177 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 13 targets, 8 receptions for 59 yards against that lousy Denver defense. Did they even show up at all? Because they're like, it would just open the floodgates for Brees to just run wherever he wanted to go.
But it's a good sign. I know it's Denver's defense. I mean, you and I could run for 100 yards on Denver's defense right now, but it's a great sign that he's kind of back. I mean, people were after week 3, people were writing off Brees, they're writing off Jamar Chase, Burrow, like all these studs that you got to be patient. You got to be patient. The lesser guys, you could maybe move off of. Okay, maybe Najee Harris or like, okay, this guy, the offensive line's terrible. I don't think he's gonna hit. He's not what he was 2 years ago. Guys like that, maybe in a smaller league. Okay, smaller league, move off, trade. I get it. But Brees, if you were patient with him, it's paying dividends now. And Jay's going to talk about Jamar Chase here in a minute too. Yeah, these guys, these studs, these premium, top 5, top 10 guys at their position. You got to be patient. You almost have to, eat some crow for a little bit. And now Brees, 2 weeks in a row, just killing it,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've, after kind of that first game where he almost had a touchdown and, it was just a nice dividends to actually see like him just bust out, him like not gassing out at the end and wanting to get a touchdown in. I was sitting there and next thing you know, I was screaming out. I was like, fuck yeah, touchdown.
Go!
Yeah, I actually said some nice comments in our Discord. I was like, how you like those apples now? So yeah, I was happy. I was happy. So Brees Hall, a two-time highlighted play, two times. Yep. So we have 3 players that were 2 times on our highlighted weekly player list already. 3 players already. Woo. Now we have one guy who actually made our list finally is Jamar Chase. Everybody drafted him first round, first pick, maybe second pick, wherever you were. I know if I took Chase, if I had the first pick, I would take Jamar Chase over JJ in a heartbeat because I'm a Jamar Chase fanatic. And he was all like to DJ Moore, hold my football for just a second.
Yeah,
because he had
gotta one up you, my friend. Look at this. Look at this stat line.
I know. He's like, I want 56 points. I was out 93% of snaps. I'm like, I want 19 targets this time to show you who's boss. He had 15 receptions, 192 yards, 12.8 yards per catch. He's all like, I was like, I want more touchdowns than you. So he's like, I had 3 touchdowns, boy. What about you, DJ Moore? So, but other than that, I was very well impressed. The the Bengals looked like they actually came out to actually play for once, which was very, very surprising. I was just like, where was this offense all along? It's just kind of like the first couple of weeks are like, you want to write all these guys, you wanted to write these guys, you wanted to write them off. Just totally wanted to write them off. And now this week, they were just like, I think we wanted to come out and play and show what we're all made of. And it's just like, when you get drafted Chase in the first round, this is kind of the stuff we expected from Chase. Drafting him in our first or second pick overall.
And I think some of it had to do with the fact that Higgins was out, so we saw Irwin, a guy that maybe had a handful of NFL catches. I mean, he had a decent game. Obviously, Jamar Chase went off. So Boyd had a decent game. So he was kind of the beneficiary there. But it's great to see that, let's just, unless something changes, let's assume Joe Burrow is healthy now. He got worked out the kinks, and I think the Bengals will be fine going forward. We'll see how they do this week. If it's another performance like this, it's safe to be like, okay, Bengals are back. Jamar Chase can be just fine. So, but it's good to know he's still capable of it. It gives fantasy owners confidence. Like, okay, because you're first 4 weeks. I mean, you have shares of him. I mean, it's scrambling. You're like, what's going on?
Oh yeah,
because I mean,
yeah.
You can get into a little in fantasy. You can get into a little bit of a hole. I mean, you can go 2-2, 1-3, and still be able to survive, make the playoffs. But it's like you get to 1-4, you get to 1-5, 2-5. I mean, that's pretty much season over. So
yeah, pretty much.
when your first round pick is not hitting, after 4 weeks, you're just like, oh shit, you're scrambling, you're contemplating, you're contemplating your life, like life decisions, and should I trade the guy? But yeah, he patient with Chase. You were patient with Brees Hall, and now everybody's paying dividend. It's paying dividends, and that's great to see. Jamar Chase, he at their peak, like they're fully healthy. Burrow versus Cousins, just one on one. Yeah, I would take Jamar Chase too. He scores more touchdowns. I mean, Jefferson puts up more yards, but let's be honest, it takes 60 yards to get one touchdown, the equivalent of one touchdown in fantasy. So I'd rather have a guy that scores 2 or 3 touchdowns every week than a guy that gets me 150 yards but no touchdowns. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
pretty much.
It's very close. That's why they were 1-1A when they were drafted. I mean, these guys were going 1-2, 2-1. So, but yeah, Jamar Chase went off. Beast.
Yes, that is damn right. For my last highlighted player of the week, I know Eli's got a couple too as well, but we have the same highlighted player of the week.
Yeah. He was
I had
good.
I have Zach Moss. Unfortunately, my dumbass decides to. Oh, Taylor's back. I don't think Moss is gonna be liable anymore to my team anymore. Droop dropped him to waivers, and I'm like,
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm like, why
you did.
in the hell did I just do that for? Yeah. Oh. Yes. So, anyways, I unfortunately dropped Zach Moss.
I need a red light for fantasy malpractice. This guy's a multiple time champion. Fantasy malpractice. No.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I dropped the Mac to the Moss to the waivers, and I just I just had no choice in that because I thought honestly, with Taylor coming back, that he was gonna eat up the attempts, eat up the snap count and whatnot. So I figured, but I should have just realized at that time I needed somebody else. So at that time, Zach Moss was a guy I'm like, well, I can totally just drop just because of Taylor coming back, and now it's very possible these guys could have a two-headed monster, with Taylor slowly kind of getting kind of back into, you know, football shape, I guess you could put it that way. Um, Moss will probably end up getting those carries. I mean, he was out there in 80% of snaps. I don't know what Taylor was out there, what his snap count was, but I'm sure it was a little bit less than that. But Moss went off for 39 points, 23 attempts, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I was watching Red Zone, and I was just shaking my head, and it's like, why, why did I do that? Because yeah,
This is the third fail of the night.
right. But yeah, other than that, I'll probably try to get Zach Moss back on my team if I can, but I don't know. If not, I'll probably be trying to pick up a different guy that I'll be mentioning in our waivers too as well. So if I can't get Zach Moss, I'm going to go a different direction. But overall, I'm pretty well happy with Zach Moss. I mean, he's been the dude. I mean, this guy's been talented. I mean, we've mentioned him before already in our streams. How I've watched Zach Moss down with the Utah Utes, and I mean, this guy eats. He can eat and eat and eat. He didn't have the right opportunity to actually, get to work. He went to the Bills. He was in front behind Singletary. He wasn't getting anything. He wasn't getting used. So they finally traded him out.
And you know what? We had to. And we did the same players this week, so I'm going to piggyback right where Jay's at. And you know what? He was an 80% of the snaps. That's obviously that percentage is going to go down as they work Taylor more in. But still, guy has over 400 yards rushing this year. I mean, 3 touchdowns. He's got some reception. I didn't include that, but he's got over 100 yards receiving so far. So, he's kind of shedding that bust label. I mean, I wonder how many other backs could have been better had they not been in Buffalo. You know what I mean? Like how good could James Cook be? If he was somewhere else. Singletary wasted away. He's just a backup now in Houston, but how many backs they probably screwed up that they don't know what they're, they have no running game in Buffalo. It's all Josh Allen pretty much. But yeah, great week for Zach Moss. He's my Gold Star Player of the Week. He was one of Jay's highlighted players. Just a monster week, and it's good to see. Yeah, we both remember him from Utah. I mean, they're doing just fine. I mean, they're a top 10 team right now in the college rankings, and right up there with the Oregon and USC and Washington to compete for that Pac-12 title. But so they're not missing him that much. But I think he's worked his way in where they have a 1-2 punch now. And if going into the year, you would have been like, okay, it's Jonathan Taylor if he's not traded. Jonathan Taylor and who? Deion Jackson. Like anybody,
No.
Yeah, exactly. I was waiting for the crickets. I was waiting for a cricket sound effect. It didn't happen. But yeah. Zach Moss, Gold Star Player of the Week, and you know what? Before we get into the waivers, I've got one more guy. Unless Jay, do you have any more things or anything to wrap up with any of the players?
I was just gonna say Zach Moss is the number 8 running back on the year already, which is crazy. He's actually got 98 fantasy points already. Rushing yards, he is actually, let's see where he's at. He's actually 3rd in rushing right now, behind CMC and Christian and Achan. So he's 3rd in rushing right now.
Oh, he's gonna jump him. He's going to be injured for 3-4 weeks. So, yeah, who would have thought? After week 6, I mean, if Moss has even a relatively decent game, 75 yards in week 6, who would have thought that Zach Moss would be the number 2, rusher in the league after 6 weeks? I mean, nobody, absolutely nobody. So that's incredible.
And then Breece Hall is actually 6th overall in rushing yards as well. So.
Yeah. We coming. He's coming.
If
Breece will be in the top 5 very, very soon.
Yes, if Breece Hall can keep up if Breece Hall can continue what he's doing, I think he can actually take the rushing record.
He's honestly gonna have to. And the Jets are 2-3, and Zach Wilson. I mean, he is what he is, but he's played a little better the last couple weeks. If the Jets are gonna have any chance at the playoffs, at a wild card, Breece is gonna have to go off for probably 1,900 yards. I mean, this is going to have to be a monster season for the Jets to have any chance. And he's capable of it. I mean, the guy stays healthy. We know how good he is. I mean, we were talking him up on this show last year before he got hurt. He was the leading rusher in the league for a reason. This guy's a beast. So those are all the highlighted players. So I'm going to do a new segment here. On the rise. Oof. Got the graph. We got the graph going and going and going and going and going and going up. He's only going up from here. So this is one of our boys. This is actually Pierre Strong. He was running back at SDSU, which is South Dakota State for those of you that don't live out here. He's a damn good running back. Was a All-American in 2021 in the FCS level. So, I mean, this guy, he had the goods coming out. He's a 4th-round pick by the Patriots a couple years ago. Got decent size, decent speed. Of course, the Patriots screwed that up. They don't look. I mean, they're screwing up Ramondre Stevenson. They don't know what to do with Zeke. He's a goal line monster. Even at this point in his career, can't figure him out. Cut Pierre Strong, just incompetent. That whole Patriot. I'm glad we didn't even mention them. They're just trash. They're absolute garbage. Belichick. The whole damn team could just they should be this year they should be contracted. Bring in the XFL champions. Bring in the USFL champions. Get rid of the Patriots. They're junk. But they had him under roster, lost him. But with the injury to Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford is good. Jerome Ford has been a nice, not a revelation, but he's been a nice fill-in, better than Josh Kelly was in with the Chargers. I mean, Josh Kelly's been a bust in terms of filling in for a stud like Eckler. Ford's done a really good job filling in for Nick Chubb, but this might be the next guy up. You're not a 4th-round pick out of an FCS level team unless you got the goods. I mean, this guy has got the goods. Week 1, and so the point of this segment is I'm looking for guys that are on the trajectory. So to be honest, I don't have a percentage in front of me that he's rostered, or I'm assuming you can get him in just about any league though. If I were to guess, I would say he's 5% or less rostered. And maybe Jay can look that up quick, but uh, uh, I want to look for guys that are steadily on the rise and guys you could easily pick up or trade for. And he'll be the first one. Week 2, so week 1 he didn't have anything against the Bengals, and that was kind of a blowout when they weren't even focused on him. And Nick Chubb was in there. He wasn't really going to get looks. It was Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford. Week 2, got a couple attempts, got a goal line touchdown, which was that's a nice start. Week 3, 6 attempts, 27 yards, not bad, solid. And up to week 4, had 5 attempts for 49 yards. So he's getting a little work in there. Week 5, they had a bye week last week, but week 6, we'll see what he does in week 6. We're in a deeper league where running backs are at a premium. If you're in a 16-man, 20-man, in the dynasty league that me and Jay do, I actually brought him up from the taxi squad or the practice squad as we call it. Like, I brought him up because I see him going places. I really do. And we're only a Jerome Ford injury away from getting some more Pierre Strong. So I thought I'd debut this segment. And I don't know, do you have any thoughts on Pierre Strong, either from his NFL, his 2 years in the NFL, or from his SDSU days?
Well, he's actually only 5% rostered, which is very
okay.
not a lot. So he's actually widely available and actually in deeper leagues too as well. Only people that probably have him wrapped up are in dynasty leagues. So other than that, he's widely available. But yeah, I was actually going to say real quick is it's funny because Pierce Strong, I believe before he actually did get drafted, that he was actually like one of the like top 5 like better running backs in the FCS system, where like the other guy we mentioned, Jaleel
McLaughlin.
Jamil, yes, he was actually a top 5 running back in the FCS system. Unlikely, not he went undrafted, unfortunately, but he actually had the talent to I think he could have been drafted in a 6th or even 7th round. But yeah, this guy went undrafted. I watched him get drafted by the Patriots, and I was just like, I actually threw up in my mouth just a little bit because I'm like, yep, he's not gonna get.
They're gonna screw him up.
Yeah, he's not gonna see any work. He's pretty much gonna be like a lost boy at sea. So, but with him trading, I'm like, ooh, him actually getting traded to the Browns. Now there's a slight opportunity for him to actually possibly see a little time this year. So I'm happy that I'm happy he's with the Browns, but not with, wish he probably went somewhere else besides the Browns. But this is the best opportunity for him to actually get some work in and see what he's made of. That's my thoughts.
Oh yeah, no, and that's great that a couple of these FCS guys are panning out now. That's great that and we talked about McLaughlin last week, talk about Pierre Strong this week. I think it's a good segment. Do guys like this that are underrated or that might be sitting on, if you're in a dynasty league, especially if he's sitting on your taxi squad, if you're in a 20-man league, he's buried in your bench. Oh, there's hope here. Because like Jay may, and Jay's a professional fantasy player, but like he made an impulsive move on Zach Moss, and he might pay the price for it. So we make mistakes. So this segment maybe could help people minimize the mistakes. Like, okay, before you drop this guy, consider, okay, he's actually putting up, he's actually getting more carries, or he's getting some receiver looks. Like you can say that about Roschon Johnson from Chicago. He could have been another candidate for on the rise because he stays healthy with what the injuries they've had at running back. Foreman's not anything special. Khalil Herbert's going to be out for a while. Roschon Johnson is easily going to work his way up, especially in the passing game. So he would have been another candidate this week. But yeah, we'll find these hidden gems.
Actually, let's see here real quick. Let's see if I can actually pop this up here. I probably try to share one thing real quick too, since you actually brought up some. I'm actually gonna try to work on doing a little something like this for probably each week, and we can actually bring up See if this works here. I'm actually
Ooh,
working on.
some
I just did
some
this.
goodies.
Yeah, I just did
There we go.
this. I just like did this today. It's kind of like your fancy studs of the kind of like a small weekly. Do like it's almost like a little flyer, like a small little weekly thing where I'll post this either in our Discord channel, um, or our Facebook group. And we actually do have a Algorithm Fantasy Facebook page. So if you guys actually want to go over there and follow us, like that page over there as well, I'll probably work on actually posting some of this stuff. I actually did post some of this stuff over in there, but do some fancy duds, and we could probably do some risers like this, and then we can put a Pier Strong on here, or some other risers that we think that are underachieved, or maybe could see the spotlight. So I think something like this would kind of work out. So if you guys want to see some more stuff like this, I post the stuff in our Discord channel, which is the link is in the description below. And then I'll probably post these on our other social medias, Facebook, and our Facebook page as well. So I think this is something we could probably do going forward for say guys like Pier Strong and stuff like that. But yeah, that's just kind of a
Is
little
it
short thing here.
I
What's that?
no, I told him on Messenger. I DM'd it. I'm like, dude, I love these. They're almost like, like remember those little sayings you'd get on the trading cards, like on baseball cards, football cards when we were kids. That's what this. I love this little flyer thing you did, man. This needs to be an every week thing. I'm digging this.
Yeah, I thought it would be I was like, this is what happens when you have time at work while you are working. You start thinking of things like this to actually put out for
Beautiful
people
thing.
to actually right working while you are working at the same time. But other than that, we got a little sidetrack there, everybody. But it doesn't hurt to actually bring up some other names to kind of mention in this fantasy world, just because you don't know anything, you don't know what's going to happen. So, there's a player that's an injury prone away from happening, and then it's going to be the next guy up. So we don't want to see injuries happening to guys, but I mean it's just part of football. It's a violent sport, and it's just shit happens.
Yeah. So that's basically what we're doing. We're getting you primed for that next injury because it will happen. I mean, at this time last week, did anybody suspect? Okay, my first round pick could possibly be done for the year. I mean, Justin Jefferson might be done for the year. I mean, there's boom. There is your top 5 fantasy pick gone over. It's just season is in peril now. Now you're scrambling, and receiver is, I don't think it's as important as quarterback, but in terms of like who you can find, I mean, there's a huge difference between Patrick Mahomes, obviously, and what Ryan Tannehill can put up. And if you're scrambling to trade for a quarterback or pick one up, so receiver you might be able to get, and that's why, hell, we're talking about our waiver pickups because you might get some help in the Justin Jefferson category or any of these running backs that are struggling coming back from injury. Eckler and Saquon, those guys. Um, Quarterbacks, even hell, Richardson's going to be out for a little bit. So that's why Jay's going to jump into his 10 to 12 man league and his sleeper 16. I'm going to jump off. I'm going to kick things off right. I'm going to do the week 6 pickups. And this is all based on Yahoo. So that's where I go. And the percentages that are listed by the player, that's percentage rostered. And I try to keep it under 20% so that, it's almost like a universal thing. Like if you're in a 10 man, 12 man, 20 man, 16 man, like any size league that you're in, you can go and get one of these guys. You don't have to worry. Obviously I'd love to put up CJ Stroud. I'd love to put up, a few guys of that caliber. But at this point, CJ is probably 75% rostered. Let's just be honest. I mean, you're not getting him. The time to get CJ would have been week 2 or week 3, if that. So number 1, I'm gonna put KJ Osborne, 12% rostered. That's a steal. I mean, this guy, Jordan Addison's good. I'm like really good, but he ain't Justin Jefferson. So I mean, those targets are, yeah, hit the horn, yes, hell yeah, that's great. But yeah, Osborne's shown flat. He's been a number 3 for years and has shown flashes. He was productive when it was Diggs, Thielen, and Osborne. He was productive when it was Jefferson, Thielen, Osborne. Now it's going to be Addison and Osborne. So we'll see what KJ can do when he's actually, in the starting lineup every week, getting full-time targets, full-time looks. We'll see what he can do. I think KJ's a steal at 12%. You got to have room on your bench for KJ. Absolutely. We've both been fans of his for a couple years. Just don't think he's gotten the opportunities. Number 2,
Yeah.
this guy kind of came out of nowhere. I remember watching the college playoffs last year, TCU and Michigan, and then TCU and Georgia in the national title game. And Amari DiMercato, like, he kind of came out, came out of nowhere. He's undrafted, but the Cardinals are going to be on this list quite a bit. I mean, they're on the waiver list every week because they play hard, they try hard, but I mean, they're deficient of players or they have a lot of injuries. So you're going to have the Josh Dobbses roll through the waivers. You're going to have, last week we had Michael Wilson, maybe Rondale. If Rondale, dips below 20% rostered, we'll get Rondale on this list. Another running back they picked up, I put it in the scroll on the bottom at the beginning of the show, Tony Jones from the Saints, who actually had a decent game, filling in for Alvin Kamara. I think it was week 2 or something. So, Tony Jones might get some carries here too. But DiMercato, he's worth a look. I mean, he had a decent game against Cincinnati on Sunday, and we'll see what he can do in week 6. Like I said, these running backs are especially deeper leagues, they are hard to find. So anybody, like I said, it's the pretty girl at the dance. It's like 40 guys, one girl. Everybody's rushing to that girl. Everybody's going to be rushing to a running back that shows any kind of promise. So I'd put him at 2. Another running back that we both like a lot, Kendre Miller from the Saints, got some more usage than normal in week 5, and which is good. Him and Kamara should be the 1-2 punch there. They shouldn't, no offense to Tony Jones Jr. and these other kind of, lesser guys they've had getting carries throughout the year. Jamal Williams has been hurt. I mean, he's kind of been a bust for what they, the kind of contract they gave him after that monster year with Detroit last year. So now everything's playing out the way it should. Alvin Kamara's back, and Kendre Miller is probably, and he should have an effect. I mean, he's not, Ed Kamara is in his 7th year, so he's not going to be the workhorse that he used to be, like every week. So Kendre Miller, he stays healthy. Great number 2, and I kind of like the Saints running game. I do. If they both these guys stay healthy, Saints could be going place with that. Only 12% rostered, worth a roster spot, especially in a deeper league. Stash him away. Samuel, he's having a deceptively good year. He's had double-digit fantasy points in 3 of the 5 games. Like I remember him in Carolina a couple years ago. He kind of went off the radar when Washington signed him. And now he's back. You can almost argue he's been their number 1 guy this year. Him and Howell, have a good rapport. I mean, Logan Thomas is back from the dead, and so is Samuel. McLaurin, I don't know if he's right, if he just something's going on. I don't think he's a young guy. I don't think he's lost a step, but McLaurin's kind of been out of the mix. Dotson, he hasn't really popped like we thought he might in his 2nd year. But yeah, Samuel only 18% roster. I'd snag him up right now. He's a guy you can literally pick up. And in a 12, 16-man league, especially with bye weeks going on now, he's a guy you could put right in the starting lineup. You could put in the flex spot, and I'd feel comfortable playing him. Like I said, 3 of the 5 games, double-digit fantasy points. And the last guy at number 5, I got to get, I've ripped the guy, and we probably both have at some point. Desmond Ritter's he's been really good. He's had, 2 of the 5, it's 2 of the 5 that he's had 26 points or above in fantasy. And I think it's 3 of the 5 that he's had more than 20, which, I mean, he gets a lot of hate, but 3 of the 5 games having over 20 fantasy points for a quarterback, that's not bad. That's like Russell Wilson. And people even at this point, they universally think Russ is better than Desmond Ridder. Well, I don't think there's much of it fantasy wise. There's not much of a difference at all. Like Desmond Ridder is like right there. And, Sam Howell, a couple other guys that are underrated. Baker's still out there. I could have put Baker in this spot. But yeah, Desmond Ridder only 5% rostered. If they get he has weapons. Like if this were to ever take off, you would get a major steal. I know I have him in one of our dynasty leagues, and I'm sitting him there. I'm waiting because it's like he's got Pitts, he's got Drake London. Van Jefferson is he is what he is. But I mean, that's here and there he'll catch a 70-yard touchdown. He's capable of that. And catch a bomb. The running game they have. Desmond can move a little bit. Things might be looking up for the Falcons offense. Only 5% roster, like I said. Put Desmond Ridder at 5, and those are my Fab 5.
Should just call it a Fab Four. Just keep Ritter out of this because I
Oh
don't
my
like
God, no! Don't be hating on Ritter.
Ritter.
Hey,
Ritter
hey,
is
man.
my
Jay, oh my God, I'm gonna ask you. So if you had to choose, okay, you have 4 quarterback options, in the waivers for guys that are gonna be starting at least the next couple weeks for sure. Okay, you have an option between Josh Dobbs, Baker Mayfield, Desmond Ritter, or Gardner Minshew. Who are the two of those 4 quarterbacks that you're keeping that you try to go and get? 2 of the 4.
I would go with Minshew, and I would actually probably go with Baker. That's just
I
my I I like
that's no,
Baker
that's
just
fine. I mean, oh, go ahead, Jay.
I mean, Minshew is he's actually getting the rapport with a lot of these guys, even though he's AR5's kind of in it. He's kind of been in and out, but the guy who is going to actually kind of be on the rise is Josh Downs, just because he'll be a blanket for Minshew. Pierce is kind of there. You got that two-headed monster with Moss and Taylor. So overall, I like Minshew in this situation. Ritter, I just don't think he has the goods yet for me to actually buy in. I just he had only so far he's only had 2 games with over 20 points. And then the rest of the games are under 10 points. So I mean, this was the only time he was actually this week he was actually a QB6 this week. Other than that, he's like a QB 25, QB 26. I mean, he was a QB 30. So I mean, this is the first time that I seen that he was a QB 6. Other than that,
I think
I just
I think I was wearing these glasses. I could have swore it was 3 of the 5. I must be missing stuff. Oh my God. Well, but anyways, that's fine. No, that's fine. Minshew and Baker, because realistically, these are the waiver guys everybody's looking at. Whether you're sleeper, ESPN, Yahoo, so that's a good discussion point between those 4 because those are a lot of the guys that you're looking at when you're in the deeper leagues and you're looking for that backup quarterback or that 2 quarterback league. You're looking for the bye week fill in guy. These are the options. I would take Baker and Desmond Ritter, but with what Minshew's working with the weapons, yeah, I agree. Like he's got some upside, definitely. Pittman Jr., Taylor can work out of the backfield, catch passes. Josh Downs is kind of coming into his own. So Granson's not not anything special at tight end, but he's not terrible. He catches passes, so you got a few guys to work with in Indy. And Minshew's shown
yeah.
flashes. He's had 300-yard games before in the pros, so.
Oh, most definitely. But yeah, before we swap over onto my side of waivers, Donovan says, "What if Keaton Ingram plays this week? He's been ruled out with
Keontae.
Well, we
Makes me
just
want to drink.
mentioned right. We just mentioned Imare. So just I think it's going to come down to best player at hand, and with Amare kind of already being involved already somewhat, Keaton hasn't really been involved, and yeah, just looking at his stat lines, and he's had contribute very very little. So I think they're going to be going. I think they're going to ride the hot hand on what kind of happens here, especially when it comes to the running back
It's but
situation.
but but that doesn't mean, Donovan, that Ingram is not going to have value. Let's say week 10. Because we with a lot of these like fill in, lesser known, mediocre kind of running backs, these by committee places. It's always subjective to like Jay was saying, like who's the hot hand, what week is it? So Ingram, you could probably get away. Oh, because I know what you're saying. You don't want him to pop for 65 yards and a touchdown this week, and then everybody and their mom picks him up and he can't get him. I understand what you're saying. I don't think this is the week though. I I I think DeMercado is going to be, if anybody's going to pop, it's going to be him this week. So I would hold off on that Ingram thought for at least another couple weeks, and then see if he gets worked in at all. Let's see if he gets like Pierre Strong with the Browns. Let's see if Ingram gets 5 carries for 37 yards, or it works his way in where it's like, okay, because I don't think it's just going to come like an avalanche. I don't think Ingram's going to come in and his first game is going to have 23 carries, 150 yards, and a touchdown. I don't think, so hold off on that. to answer your
Yeah.
question.
Yep, for sure. For anybody who's actually played on a sleeper platform, this is for your 10 to 12
Yeah.
12 man leagues. I got Minshew up in here. I got the Minshew, the guy that looks like he's from the 70s and just that slick hair, bandana
Uncle
looking.
Rico.
But yes, with AR5 more likely missing a month. Minshew, I would probably go on if you actually, especially in two QB leagues, I would be snagging up Minshew. We just kind of overtalked Ritter here just a little bit. I would probably pick up Minshew over Ritter just because I just like what Minshew has as far as weapon wise. Ritter, he's got upside, but I'm not buying in yet on Ritter. I have to see probably another good game from him. Maybe maybe one or two more games if he can be a top 10 quarterback. But yeah, then that we got DM Carto at 1%. He's out there. DJ Shark, if you need somebody, he's out there about 19%. DJ is kind of the only guy that I've seen that's kind of liable right now, especially with Mont St. Brown maybe missing a couple weeks or so. Wait, DJ Shark. Oh wait, no, I messed that up. He's a frick. God damn it, he's a Jaguar.
No, just
How
go with
dare
it.
me?
Just go with him. Anytime DJ Shark, anytime DJ Shark puts up a monster fantasy week, we're gonna play the Jaws music. Dun 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 dun
Right?
dun 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 dun. Dun.
Yeah. But yes, he's a Jaguar. So yeah,
He did play like a shark. He did play like a shark this week, though. He earned that name.
but if you have Amon St. Brown on your team and he's going to miss a couple weeks, go out and snag up DJ Shark in that situation. Logan Thomas, he's a tight end he's kind of simmering with being a top 15 tight end more than likely, and he's Samhal's go-to guy for his little cushion for the pushing. But
More
Logan
cushion
Thomas.
for more pushing, baby.
But yes, Logan Thomas will be that guy if you need a tight end for this week. And I got my main guy over here, KJ Osborne. He's
Hell yeah.
oh, excuse me. He's 2% rostered, so it's gonna I think he'll be a number three. I'll be a number three in this just because they got Addison, Hawkinson, and they do got a little bit of Madison. But KJ Osborne can blossom with JJ being out for a month. So I mean, this is his opportunity to actually be explosive, and the things that we've seen with him previously last year. He's the guy that we want to see get some balls. So KJ Osborne, if you need him, go snag him up. And we have Tajay Spears. He might be 37% rostered. I just like this kid. I mean, he got more bulk of the of the carries from the main guy. So I just like the fact that yes, the D man himself, Tajay Spears 37% rostered. He actually had I think he had a touchdown. I mean, this kid is explosive. The way he just cuts in and out of these, the offensive line, and he just bursts. I actually had to drop Tajay Spears too in a league or two, and these are the guys that it's one of those things. I had to try to find a wide receiver, and I didn't. It's like, all right, well, I have to drop Tajay Spears, even though I really didn't want to. He was at that time, it was the guy I had to cut, to actually pick up somebody, and I didn't want to drop guys like the Moss and Spears, but you have no choice in actually having to drop these guys to pick up a wide receiver or a tight end. So it's just this is one of those things that kind of suck for a fantasy manager making these hard decisions. And Spears, I have him in some of my leagues, and I didn't want to drop him, and I had to drop him. But go out there, get Spears. I think this will be a 1-2 punch with D Henry and Spears.
This I'm gonna say it. This guy is one Derrick Henry. I can't even say his name. He's one Derrick Henry injury away from being like I don't want to say Brees Hall. I mean, Brees Hall is a monster, top 5 running back in my opinion. But he's going to explode. I mean, this is going to be a Jerome Ford situation where he kind of comes out of nowhere and he's getting 100-yard games and like, wow, okay. Or A-Chain from Miami. He's going to have that type of explosion onto the scene where everybody's going to know who Tajay Spears is. By next year, they will. So, I mean, if you can get on him now, 37%, that's not bad. I mean, that's reason you can probably get him in a 12-man. We do the 20%, less than 20% stuff because it's just, we know there's a variety of leagues. We know there's deeper leagues. It's hard to get, but 12 man, you can definitely get Tajay Spears and he'd be definitely worth a pickup and, stash him on the bench for sure.
Yep. All right. Now for those deeper leagues.
Going deep, going real deep.
Yeah, we're going real deep. This one was a bugger for me because I had to think, and I'm like, man, it's just like there was very slim pickings, and if you really, really need somebody, I mean, Diamaro Kaigardo. We just call this guy the tequila guy.
ED. He's ED. he should get some of that blue chew that they have on the internet.
But yes, other than that, he's 1% rostered. So I have Baker Mayfield and Minshew. I mentioned Minshew already, especially if you're 2 quarterbacks, deep leagues, if you're needing somebody, especially with the buys, with Pittsburgh and Green Bay being out, you don't have Love or Pickett. Minshew and Baker Mayfield are valuable assets to actually comprehend for those guys missing out. If you need somebody, I just mentioned I liked Baker. I'll probably even try to shoot for Baker in some of my waivers too. I like Baker just because he's got the weapons. He's got the offensive weapons. He's got Godwin. He's got Evans, and the other guy Trey Palmer too as well. And then there was the other kid.
Tompkins, the young kid Tompkins. Yeah.
Yep. He is the other one too as well. I mean, so don't sleep on Trey Palmer too much. I think it's gonna go back and forth between Tompkins and Palmer just to see. So I think it's just going to be kind of that's one of those situations, kind of the wide receiver 3. I mean, it's, Trey Palmer is still kind of, we mentioned him before already. I mean, he's still learning the route tree. He's very limited in what he can and can't do, so, I mean, he's still kind of a working prospect in a lot of these, these aspects of the football game. I mean, he was very limited when he was with Nebraska. So I just think slowly, eventually, I think Trey Palmer will be worked into the situations that they need, but they already got Mike Evans. They already got, playmakers, but just keep your eye out on Trey Palmer. I mean, I just want to mention that because we've been talking about him most of the summer, but Trey Palmer is a guy we like too. So just keep him in your back of your mind. You don't have to go out and pick him up. I mean, if you got the space for him, maybe go pick him up. But other than that, Darius Slayton, I know you mentioned Wandale. I hate putting.
It's a juggling act. It's a juggling act with these giant receivers. You're like, pick your poison.
Quite honestly, I don't want any part of the Giants' offense at all. Period. Just because there's nothing going on. It's a wasteland of wide receivers because you just don't know who's popping. They're not getting any traction going. I mean, that's the downfall. But Slayton is, if they really needed somebody, Slayton was their target guy that, got the targets, got the touchdowns, got the yards, the yak yards, stuff like that. He was kind of that guy. But when you got a whole slew of, Sterling Shepard, Wan'Dale Robinson, and freaking Jalen Hyatt, so they have a slew of guys that we're just sitting there ready to be plucked. They're like, hey, I want 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. They're just ready for it. They just can't get anything going. But and Tyler Clunk, the Clunk monster of the guy who the guy who actually won Angry Runs this week. I was actually watching that this morning. So he actually won. he won the scepter. So yeah, so if you need a tight end in deeper leagues, I think Tyler is the guy I would kind of be looking at. He's actually had 28 targets overall for the total of the year. So he's been averaging 5 or 6 targets per game. So I mean, if you need, if you need somebody, Wilson is looking at Conklin for some targets as well. So that is my top 6 sleepers for your deeper leagues. Whew. But we have
I
2 more segments.
and I was gonna say quick too, Jay. An honorable mention. And I know he was on I think he was on the previous screen, Logan Thomas. But yeah, Logan Thomas is another guy in a 16 man. You could probably get him too. It's like he's resurrected from the dead. I mean, he's like the Logan Thomas from a couple years ago, before all the injuries started piling up. So yeah, Conklin, not bad. Is a backup 16 man tight end. Yeah, he's perfect. Him, Logan Thomas. Thomas should be probably start. I think Jay was saying he's 11th rated fantasy tight end right now. Conklin's probably like around 20. So I mean, yeah, he's not bad.
I can look him up quick. I think he's up there a little bit too. I'll look at season wise here real quick. Look that up here.
See, he's got to check. He's got to check this now because I said Desmond Ridder had one more 20+ fantasy game than he actually did. I'm talking up Desmond Ridder like he's the best thing since sliced bread, and I'm wrong.
Conklin is actually 18th tight end on the season.
Close, yeah. The same
yeah. So I mean, he's behind. So at top of him, you got Kyle Pitts, Higbee, Ertz, Ferguson, Jonnu Smith, Schultz. So I mean, these guys are all in the same ballpark, So I mean, it is what it is. But yes, it's kind of been a long haul already. So I mean, we appreciate everybody that has been tuning in with us. We just have a few more segments to actually whip out, and then you guys can leave us, go on and do all those waiver claims. I'll be doing some waiver claims, and yeah,
if you're not doing those waiver claims, you're probably setting a DFS team, which means, okay, Eli, where do I go? There's a couple. FanDuel, there's DraftKings. I happen to like DraftKings. That's why I usually go with the DraftKings here. Usually the classic 9-man. That's just my favorite. I'm not and the snake, like the drafting stuff for 7-player or any of that. So I usually base this off the classic 9-man. And you get your amount of money, and then you build your team from there. I usually do the full slate. I usually do all the games, Thursday to Monday. Whip it out. I'm gonna whip you out, Donovan. I'm gonna whip you right in the shape and tell you how to set your DFS team right now. But these are my bargains. So these are my bargains of the week. Yeah, money. So these are my bargains for the week here. And why not start with my new favorite quarterback, Desmond Ridder? Now, the thing is, I keep this under 5,500. Okay, so, Eli, wouldn't you want Patrick Mahomes or Jalen or Josh Allen? I can't touch those. They're too expensive. We're looking for bargains here so that you can go and get a Jamar Chase. You can go and get a Tyreek. You can go get a CMC. When you hit on a lot of these cheaper guys, you can go and get the premium guys. So that's the point of the segment. But Desmond Ridder, I'll put, you know what? They're playing Washington. Everybody's been putting up yards on Washington's defense. Washington's defense is not as bad as Denver, but they're bad. So Desmond Ridder should have a really decent game. I wouldn't be surprised if, between rushing and passing, if he had at least 2 touchdowns, maybe 250 yards passing and, maybe 30, 40 yards rushing, that's a solid game for your fantasy quarterback for sure. Number 2, Josh Reynolds. I have Josh Reynolds in here every week because he's a bargain. He was 4,200 last week. He's 4,500 now. He's a bargain each and every week because, especially if St. Brown's going to be out a couple games, like Jay was saying, this guy might be the de facto number 1. The way he's been playing like a number 2. And Detroit's offense is going to keep humming. This guy is a sleeper, absolutely. Tyler Algier, I have a number 3. Falcons offense has been doing pretty damn good. I got a lot of Falcons and Commanders players here, if you haven't noticed, 4 of the 5. So I think that game is going to be high scoring and wacky and a bunch of offense there. Algier for 4,600, I think is a steal because I would say it's about every 3rd or 4th game he pops. It's not like last year where, most weeks he was pretty consistent because he was the feature back. It's going to be about that every 3rd or 4th game where Algier had 89 yards and a touchdown, or he had 72 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think that could be one of those weeks for him. Curtis Samuel, 3,700. I've been talking about him the whole show. with my Yahoo waivers. He's available there if you can go snag him up, and he's available here. That's cheap, 3,700. He's been playing like their number one receiver. He's been outplaying Dotson, McLaurin. He gets more targets than Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas has been playing damn good too. That's why I have him at number 5. But yeah, both these guys have just been playing lights out. Sam Howell, he's another one of those guys. About every other game, he'll have a stinker, and then he'll come back, have a monster 300-yard game. That's kind of been his MO this year. I think Sam Howell's going to light up Atlanta's defense, have another monster game. So I finished the top 5 here with another bargain. Logan Thomas, 3,500. That's cheap for a tight end. He's the 11th most productive tight end so far, like we've been saying. So lots of players in that game, and then Josh Reynolds from the Lions. Those would be my DFS bargains of the week.
Well, there's no.
Yeah, no KJ, no KJ. Well, that a lot of the times I have weigh. It's hard, man, because I try to keep it like I could put 5 receivers in there, but I try to help the people. I try to be like, okay, 1 quarterback, 1 tight end, 1 running back, and 2 receivers. Obviously, I'd love to put 5 receivers in there, or like 3 receivers, running back, quarterback. But I try to give them. Otherwise, KJ would have been in there. There's a couple guys that I would have put in there that were under that 55 mark. But
well, it's been another week of we had studs, and now we have to get into those.
So, oh God, I'm terrified. I'm gonna turn the lights out. I look like Casper.
So before we get to week 5, last week we had Kyle Pitts on the list. We had Jordan Addison on the list. We had Marine Mostart. We had that lousy Mac Jones, and we had that Joe Burrow. So is there any guesses? Is there any repeats? Is there any guesses on who's this week's 5?
Been some bad boys.
Well, I think it's time. I think it's time to show these guys who are the week 5 duds of the week. And we have that lousy ass.
Please. Mac Jones is out there again. I knew it. I called it. Snake guys.
Oh, yes. We have that lousy Dak Prescott. We have that first overall dud, Justin Jefferson. We have the two Jones and 1 Cup going on here, and we have Michael Wilson as well on this list. Dak Prescott, he was all amped up, wanting to be like, yeah, revenge that 49ers game in the playoffs we lost.
So much for that.
Evidently, he didn't look too elite. That's for damn sure. Getting sacked 3 times, 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown. I wanted to shut off that damn Dallas game because I was like, I did.
What the hell is this shit?
Damn right. I was fed up. I was like, yeah, Dak's got to go. This is some bullshit. But other than that, I love the Cowboys. I just don't like the decision making with Dak. That's just my cup of poo-poo. We had Justin Jefferson. He's had 6 targets, 3 receptions, 28 yards. We're like, the hell's going on here? But other than that, we mentioned JJ is more likely to be out for 4 weeks. We already mentioned the waivers, who to go snag up. Donovan says, did Eli swipe left? Where all the ladies go?
Got the Tinder app right here. I had to swipe left. I'm sorry.
But anyway, yep. So anyways, we have the two Joneses on this list for repeats. Once again, Mac Jones, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has been sacked probably more than any quarterback has been sacked more than any of these quarterbacks already. He's probably at 30, 40, maybe even 50 sacks on the year already. Who honestly knows? But it's sad to say, Daniel Jones was good. I mentioned him in our on my little flyer a dud because we all wanted him for fantasy reasons, as far as his running upside a little bit, but that's nowhere to be found at the moment, and he could be missing some time. And Mac Jones,
All right,
12.
Jake, I got a theme song quick. Because Mac Jones, he looks just like Rick Astley. We're you got Rick rolled, baby. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go.
I can't hear it, but it's all good.
Well,
but yes,
he's Rick rolled. He's Rick rolled the whole anybody that might have taken him with a late round pick or anything. Like this guy is garbage. He needs to be benched for the rest of the year. If you make our list 2 weeks in a row, that's pretty hard. I mean, we try to be nice on Out of Rhythm. We try to we don't want to put the same guys week after week. This guy's been on like 3 of the 5 or 6 lists. He's awful. Yeah.
All right. And then our stud of I think it was either week 3 or week 4, Michael Wilson, who came out, he had a nice couple touchdowns, 100-some odd yards. And he's like, yeah, guys, I had enough. I had, only 2 targets, 1 reception for 18 yards. So it's kind of like, hey, I flashed a little bit, but I don't want to give it all away. It's kind of like a girl teasing you a little bit, but yeah, Michael Wilson, and hopefully he rebounds from this massacre of duds. So that was our week 5 ghosting. So hope everybody enjoys this little segment. So stay tuned for this upcoming weeks of week 6. So, and we got one more last segment, and then we got to get the hell up out of here because it's already been an hour and a half, and we just have so much content to talk about. It's not even funny anymore. We just go through everything.
Coughing up that bullshit. And he's right. We try to sorry, we'll have to start breaking these segments up a little bit, but we try to cram it into one night just for what we can do with our schedules right now. But obviously, we'd love to break this up more or do more smaller. Short. We know the intent. We have short attention spans. We know how the shows kind of drag on, but hopefully, it's like you pick. If you don't watch the whole stream, we totally understand. You pick parts, and so we'll try to make that easier maybe in the future with different segments to kind of cherry pick what you want to pay attention to. Obviously, the waivers, that's the huge thing, and this last segment here. But I got to say, Mac Jones, he looks like Rick Astley and Jason Garrett had a love child. That's what he looks like to me. But of the segments,
I almost walked right into that one.
Yeah. Of the 2 segments, we think that the waivers, if you want to, cherry pick a couple segments to go to right away and get your, okay, I'll listen to these guys. The waivers, in the middle of the show, that'd be like the first thing. Second thing is the college spotlight, because we are projecting some of these guys that are going to be on your fantasy rosters next year. They're going to be on, your drafting and your year-to-year redraft leagues and your dynasty leagues. Possibly a couple years from now, they're your keepers. We're on the search for various guys. Last week, I did Braylon Allen from Wisconsin. This week, not quite as high of a prospect, but Audric Estime, he's going to be like an A.J. Dillon type of running back. He's kind of like a big bruiser. He looks, I mean, if you saw him out, with his helmet off, he looks just like Mark Ingram. If you guys remember Mark Ingram from the Ravens and the Saints, he doesn't have a skill set. He doesn't catch balls out. He doesn't catch balls out of the backfield quite like Ingram did, but reminds me of an A.J. Dillon, just a big bruising running back. See, he's the 100th rated prospect. So what I would, and these are my projections, these aren't like, I would just assume he's probably a 4th round pick. That's where a lot of these kind of running backs go that are good but have some deficiencies. Kind of like Pierre Strong. Pierre Strong was a good college running back, had good NFL size, but ended up in the 4th round. I mean, this isn't the days, 30 years ago where running backs were going in the top 5 and in the 1st round quite frequently. I mean, you got to be the highest rated running back they have this year is like 41st in the PFF 100. So none of these guys are graded as 1st round picks. This is not a strong running back class, but we are finding you a couple gems that I think are going to be, productive running backs. And A.J. Dillon, he's a spot starter. You know what I mean? Like in certain situations, I don't think, he's not Jonathan Taylor. He's not CMC, Brees Hall. He's not one of these level guys, but, he just started it for Green Bay last night. So, I mean, why can't Audric Estime, why can't he have a career like that? Last year with Notre Dame had 920 yards rushing, 11 TDs, caught, over 100 yards receiving with a touchdown. So not big numbers receiving, but so far this year, caught a few more. He's got 10 catches, 89 yards, 692 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns. So he's got respectable numbers. But where my concern is at, because 7 touchdowns, 692 through like 5 or 6 games so far. I think Notre Dame's played 5. If I have that.
Yeah, I think
correct,
they're.
5 or
I
6.
think they had a bye. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so 5 games, 692. That's a damn good number. But the last 3 opponents that they've played have all been ranked teams: Ohio State, Louisville, and Duke. And his high rushing total in all 3 of those games is like 80 something yards. So he's not really producing against the highest level of competition, which has me worried. Well, then why are you bringing this on us, Eli? Because he's got, look at the size, 5'11", 227, runs a 4.48. He's got for the weight and the size. And AJ Dillon ran a 4.53, if I have that correct. So he's a little faster than AJ Dillon, not quite as heavy. I think Dillon's in the 243, 245 range. So not quite as, they what do they call him? The quad monster or something, AJ Dillon, but not quite whatever, the Quadzilla, not quite freakish like that, but similar body type. If you see, if you're watching Notre Dame the next coming weekend, they play USC, they got some big games coming up. If you watch number 7, he'll remind you a lot of AJ Dillon in my estimation. So just thought I'd throw a little spotlight on Estime. He's behind Braylon Allen. He's behind a few of the Ohio State running backs. So they have him rated at number 8. So that should pretty much tell you. Running back class, when you're 8th rated running back in the class is like a, probably late 4th round pick, it's kind of a weaker running back class. But you have any thoughts on Estime, Jay?
I actually didn't have an opportunity to kind of dig into him a little bit. So yeah, it's one of those things where I kind of wanted to kind of get
any fantasy.
I'm honestly, I don't know, because I never had him. The guy you were I do have I think it's the Ohio's
Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is the kid from LSU. So if you guys want an actual stud, because this guy's probably not. If Jay hasn't heard of him or has shares of him in fantasy, then obviously but this is a guy that's going to get drafted. He's going to be. He'll be somebody's back, like Tajay Spears, and there's a lot of these guys that go in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round that end up, we're talking about them now. We're talking about, Pierre Strong is Jerome Ford's getting in there, Tajay Spears. So he's going to be in line with a lot of those kind of guys that will get in there and get his looks when he makes an NFL roster. But yeah, obviously he's not a Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is a stud receiver from LSU. He's graded as a 1st round guy. So if you guys want to look forward to next week's episode, Jay will probably have more to say, and so will I. Neighbors we think he's the next in line of like those great LSU receivers, that have been coming out, the last 5-10 years. It's just, year after year, they're cranking him out. So if you, we'll get into him in next week's episode. But I thought I'd give some love to some, because how many Notre Dame kids? Last time I did a Notre Dame kid was Mike Mayer, and we see what he's doing. We see what he's doing with the Raiders, which is nothing.
Nope, not that one. I don't know why I even hit that one for. I was looking for this one. I was just gonna say real quick. I got we have a question in the chat real quick. I'll get to you in just a second. I have Trevian Henderson, who's supposed to be like a top 5 prospect for this year, and he hasn't done shit. He hasn't even had. He's not quite over 400 yards. He's like under 400 yards rushing for the year, and he hasn't done anything. So it's kind of like I actually kind of want to get off Henderson because I thought honestly, either, as far as this, Ohio State offense, I figured this would be a little bit more explosive. I actually got Harrison too as well, and they haven't done me shit. I'm totally frustrated with both of these guys. And I'm about ready to ship both these guys out for some different guys. Honestly, I kind of want to get the guys from Washington with Michael Pendrix or Hendricks Jr. or whatever heck the hell
Jimmy,
his
Michael,
yeah,
Jimmy Hendricks Penix.
right. But yes, we'll get to this comment here real quick. Coheran. Yes, George Pickens
Cohen.
and
Cohen.
Cohen of the skies, we'll call him. George Pickens and James Conner for Devontae Smith.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Absolutely. James Conner. I've been waiting for this, man. He's in his 9th year. I've been waiting for the injuries to catch, and he's been hurt before, but I think now, I mean, we've had a lot of these receivers come on, a renaissance of old receivers, Robert Woods and D Hop and Mike Evans, a few of these kind of guys. Running backs, you're just not quite that lucky. He's 9th year guy, just about done. This is definitely his last year in Arizona. I don't know if he gets picked up next year by a team. So he's almost like a de facto James, and I don't know when he's coming back this year. I mean, he's out at least 4 weeks. So let's throw him to the side here. So it's basically like Joe Pickens, a half a season, maybe running back, and for Devontae Smith, who Devontae Smith is, he's going to tear it up, dude. At times he's been outplaying AJ Brown this year. I mean, he's been tearing it up, and it's only going to keep getting better. Once Philly gets that offense roll, I know that's not quite what it was last year. Once they get that offense rolling, Devontae Smith is he's the real McCoy. So I would do that in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
He also goes on to say, now I have Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. Does that change anything? The only downfall is if you have if you actually have AJ Brown, it's gonna be one of these 1-2 punches. One day you're gonna, AJ Brown's he's gonna go off, then Smith doesn't do anything, and then it's gonna be Smith does one thing, and then I just don't think two of these guys can coexist in the same kind of like fantasy wise, just because they have Swift there as well to take away with a lot of those things. So like Puka and Cup can coexist just because those two guys, they don't have anything in the backfield. See, that makes a lot of difference, but
It does, but it depends on who you brought up. You see, you were talking about George Pickens, but how long until I know he's the only productive receiver that they have right now, especially with Deontay Johnson being out injured. But it's like, when are they ever going to fix things? They have no movement forward with firing Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator with the Steelers. So I don't think things are going to get better offensively. They can't run the ball. Pickett is limited. I mean, George Pickett, that's a hard one. Now, if it was a little better receiver than Pickens, like in a better situation, I might nix it. But I almost think you have to take your chances. If you can get your hands on AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and you're only really losing George Pickens, because I think like I said, Connor is going to be washed soon. It's coming. So it's almost like a Pickens for Devontae Smith straight up, if you almost think about it. So it changed a few things, but I'd move forward with it. I'd take your chances. Devontae Smith, you get your hands on him. Yeah, absolutely.
He also goes to say, I got offered Devontae for Pittman and Miles Sanders. I mean, I like Pittman, but Miles Sanders is kind of on the downtrend right now. He's kind of, we don't know what's
Miles Sanders ain't doing a damn thing this year.
Chuba Hubbard is actually outplaying him right now. So
garbage.
Yes. But I like Pickens myself.
Well, it's funny. It's funny what I was gonna say, Jay. It's funny what being behind that Philly offensive line will get you. Look what DeAndre Swift looks like, an all-pro running back behind that offensive line. Miles Sanders being behind a mediocre one in Carolina. We see he's being exposed. So yeah, stay away from Miles Sanders.
Yeah. That's our opinion. I like George Pickens myself. I'm a Pickens guy myself. He might have a few down games, but he's got a lot of upside, especially with Pickens. The Pickens. That's just me. I drafted Pickens wherever I could, but Pittman is actually not a bad thing. I would stay away from Miles Sanders. That's just unless you really need an RB running back. Or here's the other thing you could do. If you do get Devontae, or you do have Devontae right now, or no, he wants to get him. I would actually, if you do get him, you can actually flip Devontae for some other guys. That's what I would do, unless you like AJ Brown, or flip AJ Brown for one of these guys. That's just me though. I mean, try to give yourself some leeway if you need some help with running back. Just like if, which sounds like you're probably hurting at running back, so you could probably flip one of those two guys for running back.
Wait. So okay, so he's he's got Pittman and Miles right now, and somebody's offering a Devontae Smith for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it.
I do that. Yeah, I do that.
Yeah,
Pittman Jr. Pittman Jr. is good. He's not Devontae Smith. And Miles Sanders is almost he's gonna get. They're gonna draft. That'll be the first thing Carolina does. I know they don't have a first round pick, but in the second round, that's the first thing they're gonna do. They're gonna take one of these running backs that's coming out. They need running back help. Miles Sanders ain't the answer. My running backs are
so he's got Monte Priest and JT. So yeah, I guess you're right in there. So yeah, if you want to
got good running backs, man. Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to do Pickens and James Conner for Devontae Smith, is not a bad option. I just don't like the Sanders one. That's just me.
Too many Eagles. I get, and Jalen's not exactly Matt Stafford like lighting it up where it's like really have two guys, and yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But we appreciate you jumping in with us. Hey, if you want, we appreciate maybe a subscribe. You can like, and we're always here every Tuesday. We actually do have a Discord channel as well. So if you have any more questions like this, you can have. I'm there. Eli's not there as much, but there are other guys in our Discord as well. So we have a Discord channel as well. So we appreciate
I'm here right now.
Well, yeah, we appreciate your time, Cohen. So other than that, guys, I think it's time for us to get this wrapped up. We ran way too long. I have to get ready for work here, and I have to try to get this our waivers part uploaded as well. So if you missed our waivers, Cohen, you can go back and check that out. I'll actually have that uploaded here on our playlist on YouTube as well. So other than that, guys, we appreciate everybody that's jumped in the chat with us. It was fun. It was wild there for a little moment. We got a little long. Everybody decided, screw you guys, we're up out of here. But other than that, we appreciate everybody that jumped in with us. We had a last minute questions there at the end as well. So is there anything else you want to mention quick, Eli?
Next week, Malik Neighbors from LSU going to be the college spotlight guy. Probably get into. We can't tell who's going to be hurt, so there'll be inevitably more injuries. So that'll probably kick off the show again. So if you like what you saw this week, you're going to get a double dose of it next week. We go down. We're like Pepto Bismol. Okay, we go down with the meal. We help with the heartburn. If you have some, Justin Jefferson's going to be out for a while. That's fine. Come on, join Out of Rhythm, and we'll help you. We'll help you fix. We'll help you put some bubble gum on that hole right there. KJ Osborne got a couple good guys tonight. Curtis Samuel. We got you a couple guys you can plug in there, easily find, easily trade for. But if you liked what you saw, come back next week. Like, subscribe, all that good jazz, and I thank everybody for tuning in. And we'll be. I don't know about this weekend for that second show, that last call we were talking about to help people. And obviously Spotify, Apple, Google, Discord, all the goodies, all the good platforms. Get on there or go listen to previous episodes. Listen to this one when it's posted. But a second show, I'm not sure about this weekend. It was planning to kind of launch it this weekend, but we'll have to see about that. It'd be like a shorter. If you want to send like a smaller dose, it was going to be like a 30-40 minute most kind of show. Helping you guys with your last minute questions about your team or DFS or even betting. Like we don't talk a lot of betting on here, but that's something that's not off the table either. That's something I do a little bit. I don't think Jay touches that, but that's something I do a little bit. So that's something. Anything is within balance on that show, and we're planning on calling it Last Call. But anybody that was looking forward to that this weekend, I'm not sure that it's gonna be the first episode this weekend. So, but that was just my little closing bit there.
Well, that sounds good. So, any viewers, appreciate the subscribe, follow our content on YouTube. Yes, we also have a Facebook page. If you type in Out of Rhythm Fantasy Sports, we're on Facebook. We actually have a group page as well. We just have to get an invite to get accepted into that because I like to keep it kind of clean. And yeah, other than that, I'll have a lot of these highlighted contents up here later on tomorrow sometime, so you guys can check all that stuff out later on. Other than that, I think it's time to get the hell up out of here. So we appreciate everybody's time. I'm Jamie. That's Eli. We're from Out of Rhythm. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Ciao.